Okay, again, daunting process because this is your kid's education. My experience was with going to preschool, it was different because I was still, I think, grieving and dealing with those raw emotions. It took years to get through that, to understand how, and also for you to process how life has changed. But as soon as they got to kindergarten, kind of school age, I asked my home team, listen, do you guys have any experience with a school that knows how to work with autistic kids? They gave me some options, and then I just sussed it out. I would call the school, request for the interview, request for the meetings, sit there and pick their brain and say, you know, this is what how my child presents. Can you handle this? So, you know, the one thing I have to learn is also to reevaluate. Just because they're in a school, over time things change. Kids change, they grow, the school changes. It's always ever changing. So reevaluate. Just because it was good for him or her in kindergarten doesn't mean it's going to be good for them in grade 5 or 6. So reevaluate, I think really trust that. You know, now that my son is almost 13, I kind of have always wanted for him to advocate for himself. And I think kids naturally advocate for themselves. They ask for Christmas gifts, they ask for birthday gifts, so they naturally advocate. But at this point, he's almost 13, I think it would be very beneficial for him and the school to see how he advocates for himself. So I requested for him to sit in on his IEP in grade 6. It's a good opportunity because it's a safe space. He's been in that school for a long time. They know him. And I think it's never too young to really start advocating. And advocating doesn't mean like you have to shout at the top of your lungs on a soapbox. It could be something as simple as, I don't want, and they do, like I said, they naturally advocate. I don't want to eat this, I want to eat something else. You always learn to ask. Doesn't mean you're always going to get it, but learning to ask is a very important life skill that I think people often take for granted. They overlook it, they don't see it as a life skill. But it's not as, you know, our kids are different. They have different considerations. They don't ask for things as easy. There's this kind of unspoken rule, like, don't assume my kid knows how to do that. They have very different considerations. And ideally, you know, best case scenario, if the home team and the school team can collaborate, best case scenario, because then half the battle is over.